I think there are 6 must-haves for every church volunteer training. There's a lot of things you could have, some things that won't be in this list that I think are important for different types of volunteer training. But for every volunteer training, whether it's a small little training you do weekly, a big thing you do once a month, or one of those big event trainings that you do once a year, all of which we have separate videos, by the way, that we're talking about here. Regardless of what type it is, I think there are 6 must-haves for every volunteer training in order to get people to come, in order for them to get the most out of it, to make it worth it. And so let's talk about what those 6 things are. When you have, a time to train volunteers, I think the important thing is you take advantage of that time. Again, it doesn't matter if it's a 5 minutes in a volunteer huddle before the service, it's a monthly time when they spend more time with you, or if it's like one of those big event trainings where they come out and you have a meal together and you're together for 2 hours or something like that. You always want to take advantage of that time. So make sure you include these 6 things in those volunteer trainings. 1, say thank you. Somehow, some way, say thank you. But note that it's not about you or them. So it's not thank you for helping me. It's not really even just thank you for helping our church. It's thank you for using your gifts to be part of God's mission as we're helping reach families, reach the community, disciple adults and kids and students, like whatever that is, you're finding a way to say thank you. I think it is fine to say thank you for being part of this church and this ministry. I think that's all great, but make sure it doesn't feel like, hey, you're doing us a favor or me a favor. It's more about saying thank you for how you are honoring God and serving in this way. And then if you can, what are specific ways that you can say thank you? I think that's great. Number 2, have fun and laugh. Nobody wants boring. Okay. So again, even if it's just a 5-minute little training thing in a volunteer huddle before, your team serves, is there a way you can have fun, laugh? I don't know, is there something, and that's easier for some of us than for others. Some of you may be great at just little quips and jokes and making people laugh. Some of us may not be one of the gifts or things that we can do well. So you may have to work at it a little bit more, but everybody likes to have fun. Everybody likes to laugh. Nobody wants boring. So if you can work that in there, I think that's a must. Cast vision. You might train on something really specific in the weeds, but how do you bring that back to just a little bit of casting vision so that you can inspire and motivate them? That is a must. Again, maybe you're casting vision for why this little thing you're talking about in the weeds. For example, hey, when we're hosting on stage in kids ministry or student ministry, it's really important for us to do the transitions well, because in the transitions, here's how we can lose kids and students if we don't do it well. So here's 3 tips for how to do it well. So you're in the weeds talking about how to do it, but you're casting a vision for here's why we need to do it well, because we don't want to lose their attention in the transition there. In fact, if anything, we want to get their attention back if we lost at any point. So that's like one little example where even something that's in the weeds can come back and have a vision piece to it, like a why behind the what. Number 4, I think this is one we can forget a lot. Get feedback. Listen to their experience. Sometimes we just don't know what it's like on the ground. I was driving my son to camp the other day. He'd been, I guess, 2 nights, and this was our 3rd night. So he'd only been to this building, a couple times. And it was really funny because on the way, he was arguing with me about how to get there. And I thought this was hilarious. Like, I've driven this for like 25 years. And he's almost right, but not right. It's a left turn, not a right turn. And, so this whole thing is funny. And I think about that here. It's possible for me and for you to be like my son was in that moment where we think we know what it is because we've done it before. Now, he'd only done it twice in his whole life. You know what I mean? And I'd done it, I don't know, hundreds of times. And we can do that. Like we did that. We did, I've done that role. I did. It's been 8 years since I've volunteered in that role, but I know what that's like. And it's like, not anymore. Like, you haven't been on the ground as much as volunteers have. And so get feedback, listen to their experience. Should do that every time we train if we can. Number 5, help them connect. This helps volunteers stick. People will start serving because they want to help, they want to contribute, but they will continue serving because of who they're connected to. You, the other volunteers, this matters a lot. So how can you help them connect? And again, these are 6 things that need to be in every training. Again, some of these trainings might be 5 minutes. So it's not a segment that helps them connect. Connect can simply be them getting to hear from one person in the group something about their life or how can we pray for you. And now we're all more connected to that one person. So Don't make it bigger than it is. When there are longer trainings, if you're doing a big training event, it's a couple hours, you're having a meal. Well, yeah, you're going to have a meal together. That alone is going to help people connect. But even in the short trainings, find a way to help people connect. Number 6, help them get 1% better. You're not going to, help somebody grow 50% in their skill or their vision or their commitment or whatever, their understanding, even in a big training. But how can you help them just get a little bit better? And it could be they get better because they understand the vision more. So like practically in the weeds level, they didn't get better at all necessarily, but they understand more, and that's going to help them get better. Everybody wants to grow. Everybody wants to grow. Nobody, if you're unhealthy or in your season of stress or trauma or tragedy, sure, you're not thinking about how do I grow. But if apart from that, and even with that in mind, we all want to grow. It just might be in that moment. It's not what we're focused on. We all want to develop. We all want to get better. So help them get 1% better. Make sure that's part of the training. Now you're probably thinking that's why we're doing it in the first place. Of course, but make sure you don't forget, ask that question. How is this going to help them be better after the training? So help them get 1% better. Think 1% though. Don't think 50%. That'll be a lot more realistic. Watch the next video on creating a year-long strategy for training volunteers, because this part, making these 6 must-haves, yes, you want to do that for every training, but you need a comprehensive strategy. How do I train volunteers every week, every month, all year long, in big ways, with huge events, with small little bite-sized things? And watch that video to learn more about how to do that. Check out ministryboost.org if we can help you recruit more volunteers, develop leaders, grow and develop your ministry. We have courses and resources there, as well as a membership that gives you access to everything for one low monthly cost. Now, go ahead, check out that video on creating a year-long strategy and create your strategy, and make sure every part of it has these 6 things.